Hello? Perfect.
Yeah.
Welcome.
This is not the Ween cast. We haven't been that for a while. Did we ever officially announce that on here?
No. I want to scoot your chair a little forward, too. You seem really far away. Yeah, we're the screen weens, because we wean on each other's screens every day.
Oh, yeah. So, how was your week? Eventful with,
Eventful.
the work hours?
Yeah. I put in my notice, so I only have 3 weeks left there. But, yeah, I got stuck on a 32-hour shift.
Oh, my God.
And then I had to go in last night, even though I wasn't scheduled. And then I'm going to have to go in tonight, even though I'm not scheduled. Because somebody's just the worst.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah. But, almost done.
Yeah, holy shit. That should be like a horror movie. Like
yeah, that's my idea.
It starts off with a sane person and they like work this job that overworks them and they like go jack torrents throughout like while they're putting in their 3-week notice. They're like, all right, I just have 3 weeks. I can do it. And the film like starts relatively around there. And then just that 3 weeks is a descent into madness.
That'll just be the documentary on my life.
Yeah. I had a pretty eventful day yesterday.
Dude?
I went and saw Tyler, the Creator, live.
Did you get to meet him?
No.
You went, hi, Tyler, and he went, hey, Thomas.
I wish, but no. That didn't happen.
That's not even his real name. His name's Garth.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Garth, the Creator.
Garth, the Creator.
Well, his last name's still the Creator.
Oh, of course. Of course. That was pretty cool. I also, I had an elderly neighbor that I had to call, like, an ambulance for. Because I was, like, on my way to go, like, pick up Lucero for the concert. And I just see this old guy, like, laying down in front of his car across the street. And I, like, looked around and I'm like, anyone seen this other than me? So I
went over and you kicked him.
I went over.
You're like, hey, you okay?
Like, yeah, you alright? And attempted to help him up, but he, like, hurt his back. He's like, I just need you to call 911, so I called 911. Sat there, waited, like, 5 minutes for the fire department to show up, because they live, like, right down the street from me. And,
nice. And then they put the hose on him. Put his fire out.
Yeah, of course. And then, yeah, I went about my merry way to the Tyler, the Creator concert. Yeah.
And he also hurt his back, and you had to call 911 again?
He didn't hurt his back. Okay. So I think yesterday I just caused a shit ton of, like, people to have, like bad medical problems around me. Because I'm standing against, like, a fence at the concert, and there's, like, a girl, like, kind of, like, to the side of me, and I had, like...
elbow her in the face.
No, I had my back to her, and I just, like, suddenly hear, like, all this commotion from behind me, and I turn around, and she's, like, seizing out, because there's, like, a bunch of strobe lights going on. And I guess she was epileptic and didn't know it, because when she came to, she's like, that's never happened to me before. What the fuck?
Jesus Christ.
Like, but just that... like, turn around and there's a whole crowd of people, like, down on the ground right behind me. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Scooted over a little bit. And then Tyler, he was dancing on stage, and he said he, like, pulled a muscle or something, so he sat down on the piano.
And he looked at you, and he pointed at you, and he said, it's a witch!
I was like, huh, how did you know?
You ran away.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you'll never catch me, Tyler the Creator!
You'll never guess what else I did this week.
You bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I don't know if I have the deluxe version, but I have Mario Kart 8.
For the Switch?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the deluxe version. Because 8 was originally on the Wii U.
But no, I bought a new, like, 4K TV.
Nice.
And then I finally watched a movie that wasn't part of the weekly picks.
Which one?
Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Oh, what'd you think?
I thought... Overall, I'd say I enjoyed it, but it had a lot of problems.
Yeah, I really liked it, but That first post-credit scene bumped it up.
I'm really conflicted. I'm gonna have to see what they're gonna do with it because I've got a lot of like personal gripes because I really don't like that this Peter Parker is nothing like the Peter Parker from the comics. Because I like the fact that like Peter Parker is always like struggling. He's always on the verge of like losing his house. He's trying to like not only keep himself afloat, but his Aunt May, because his uncle recently died. And that was another thing. Like I thought the uncle was going to be more relevant in this movie because the trailer like showed like his name on the like suitcase that he was taking.
Yeah, Uncle Bartholomew.
Yeah. But,
Uncle Tony.
No, I guess he's just never going to be mentioned by name, and it's just going to be Tony Stark.
It's going to actually turn out that...
which I don't like, because I like Uncle Ben's death, because it was kind of Peter's fault, and it taught him, like, responsibility, but, like...
Yeah, that scene's great in Spider-Man 1.
Oh, yeah.
With Tobey Maguire. Everybody go watch the Spider-Man trilogy.
You should.
Woo! Tobey Maguire!
The third one is mixed.
Is mega good.
It's got its moments.
Like the whole runtime. I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about a Peter Parker who's not poor, has access to like the entire like Tony Stark's like satellites and all of his like data and information and technology, and now he doesn't even have like the secret identity, which is such a huge fucking part of what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man.
Like I'm okay with that, I guess, at least for like a movie. Just because like I want to see what they do with it because of it.
I'd be fine with it because like stuff like that has happened in the comics before. But I think it's just, like, way too fucking early. And I have a gut suspicion that they're gonna, like, just be like, yep, we're gonna just have Peter Parker known from this point on fully. And it's just like, I don't like that personally. I mean, I'm willing to go into it with an open mind and still, like, enjoy it. But, like, I pretty much, like, it's not gonna be my perfect Spider-Man movie. As far as I'm concerned, Spider-Man's not home yet.
Yeah. Yeah, he's far from it.
Yes, exactly. But I probably gave it like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 7, but like a light 7, low 7.
I'd give it like a high 6.
Yeah,
but
I'm pretty sure we're like 0.4 or 5 away from each other.
I also hate that he just like
he doesn't have the hair.
That and he like gave the. Spoiler alert.
He gave the glasses.
Yeah.
He was a little too stupid in the movie.
Yeah, and it's like... Oh.
I would have been okay with it if they had, like, more scenes together first. But I'm just like, dude, you've, like, barely known this guy.
Yeah. And it's like, oof. What else?
He should have tricked him into thinking he was Uncle Ben.
Oh. That would have been pretty cool. See, that's another thing. Like, you could have had, like...
Mysterio should have been Uncle Ben.
Yeah, because like when he does like the like mindfuck thing, it's just like Uncle Ben. He's like, "It's your fault, Peter." That could have been like, then Peter would have been like,
it should have been Tobey Maguire.
Oh, he should have played Uncle Ben. What the fuck, Disney and Sony? Get your goddamn shit together.
That's why when Disney and Sony had the big altercation or whatever, and like Sony's like, "We're not going to give it back." I'm like, "That's good." Because I think the worst parts about this new Spider-Man are its ties to the MCU usually. Like Tony Stark shouldn't have been a part of Homecoming.
I can see what you mean, but I think like Spider-Man could bring a lot to the MCU in the future.
Yeah, I just think they failed with it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying. Like the execution of it.
There's a lot of things that irk me about it, that's for sure. But I still overall like enjoy them. I'm gonna continue to watch the Spider-Man ones.
Spider-Man 3 is better than every movie in the MCU.
Presentation wise, I would agree with you.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. What are the good dance scenes in the MCU? Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Yeah.
That's it.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah, but it's not as good.
Yeah, it's not as good.
Like, one might be kind of good because they do it as the climax of the film, so it's kind of like, yeah.
I'm trying to think. mean, I almost thought Thanos did a funny little dance, but then I remember that was probably just like Fortnite.
Hulk dabs.
That's
kind of like a little dance.
Yeah, it's a really short dance, but I guess it counts.
I think that's the problem with MCU. There hasn't been enough dancing.
Yeah, that might be it, honestly. Kevin Feige, step it up.
Yeah, buddy. What are you, directing a new Star Wars movie?
How great would it be if, like, they get, like, a league, like, the League of Villains in, the MCU? I don't know what that is in Marvel. Or I guess it's, like, the Dark Avengers or something. I know, like, Norman Osborn, like, leads some shit like that at one point. I don't know. I'm not super well-versed outside of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm like, I know the Sinister Six, and I don't know any other villains besides, like, Galactus. What if Galactus dances?
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. What if they get Stan Lee's reanimated body to dance? Like, as a puppet.
They probably, like, recorded enough audio and, like...
They probably have his body, like, in the Disney headquarters, like, on a puppet thing.
They don't even need it. They can just...
Bob Iger is like, heh.
Yeah, they could be using him like a marionette.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my rambly thoughts on Spider-Man Far From Home. Overall, I thought it was pretty enjoyable. Another thing I didn't like the final credit scene. I was like, oof, that kind of subtracted from any impact that I felt between Nick Fury and Spider-Man in the fucking movie. But aside from that, it was alright. It was enjoyable. But yeah, what did you watch this week?
Not a whole lot. Let's check. Let's checkaroo what I watched. I watched Little Monsters. It's a new Hulu movie that just came out. It had a small theatrical run. It has Lupita Nyong'o in it. You know her?
Not off the top of my head.
She's in, like, 12 Years a Slave. She's in the MCU, I think.
Is she the one who plays...
she's in Us. She's
okay, yeah. I know who you're talking about now.
No, she's not in the MCU. She's in Star Wars, that's what I meant. She's Maz Kanata in Star Wars.
Okay.
But she's great. Little Monsters is... Remember my idea the other week about a teacher that has to hide children from a zombie apocalypse?
Yeah.
That's literally what it is.
Oh,
and
nice.
I'm like, what the fuck? But this is more of like, it's a comedy, and mine was like a super serious, like, oh god, hide the children. It was okay. It had Josh Gad in it too. He was pretty funny in it, actually. Like, it was a decent little film. Some of the jokes didn't land. And there was a subplot that was like a romantic one between her and like one of the main characters. I'm like, this is annoying.
Yeah.
It didn't really flow very well. It was a little forced. And I'm like, this main character's an asshole. And like, he learns a lesson, but he's still like not the worst, but close to it.
Yeah. I hate, like, love plots that are like just feel unnecessary to the movie are like the worst fucking things ever. Like, that's probably, like, my biggest pet peeve. Because I'll be, like, watching a movie, and then suddenly they'll just be like, oh, romance, when it has, like, the subject matter and the tone of the film have nothing to do with it. It's like, do you really need the main character to hook up with, like, the one other female character in the movie?
It's funny.
Yeah.
What else did I watch? I watched... Oh, I watched Dumb and Dumberer.
Oh, yeah? With Shia LaBeouf?
That was the worst thing I've ever seen. That was terrible.
Did you like the chocolate scene?
No. That was really bad.
What about the scene where they're, like, slurping Slurpees and they get, like, brain freezes or whatever?
You have to drink it fast. No, I didn't like that one either.
What about the scene where he's in a, like...
What about the scenes where they keep using the slur for gay people?
Do they do that? I haven't watched this movie since I was like 6.
They do it a lot. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it's just out of nowhere.
Huh. The F1?
Yeah. And I'm just like, this doesn't add anything.
Or what about the scene where he like makes a hot tub with his farts? Does that happen? He's like down in like an it's like a sex fantasy, and then he gets like a jetpack or something.
Oh yeah, that does happen.
Yeah.
No, that movie was just a fucking mess. But then I rewatched Surf's Up.
Oh.
And I'm a big fan of that movie.
I didn't really like that one when I was a kid, and I haven't gone out of my way to watch it since.
It's great. That also has Shia LaBeouf.
I know.
I guess I was just in a Shia LaBeouf phase without realizing it. Yeah, that's about all I watched. That wasn't really... I was busy crying and working.
Me too.
Plus, I'm not feeling too well.
Yeah, there's like a bug going around.
Yeah. Oh, you want to get into this question from Pierre?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's dive right in. I have to check the year on that.
How do you feel about movies that use a licensed song? For example, in Spider-Man 2, When Raindrops is playing on Peter's montage. Like, I guess, do you like licensed songs in films?
It really depends on the usage.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good example. And I liked it when it was first executed in, like, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Mm-hmm. Which is a great movie. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Not yet, no.
Yeah, it depends, because, like, there's a lot of movies that use, like, licensed songs nowadays where it's just like, yeah, we're trying to get this movie, like, a hip, hot-selling soundtrack. Specifically, like, kids' movies, too. Like, they'll just, like, target, like, a bunch of pop songs. I don't like stuff like that. But if it's, like, got, like, a purpose and the director, like, felt like he really passionately wanted to use the song in the film, like, for instance, there's a movie called Mommy, directed by Xavier Dolan. Xavier Dolan.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I've heard great things.
They use a lot of licensed songs in there, and it's like the main character had like a mixtape or a mix CD that was made by his dad who abandoned him.
Oh, like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, except...
It's like the same movie, except that was his mom.
Oh, fuck, they came out like the same year, too.
2014.
Yeah. I'm gonna...
Xavier Dolan should have directed Guardians of the Galaxy, and James Gunn should have directed Mommy.
Probably not. I don't know if that would have worked very well.
No, I think licensed music can, in some ways, work better than, like, a regular orchestral score, like, in some cases. Like,
yeah.
Like,
especially
Baby Driver, I don't think would have really, like, worked.
Yeah.
Like, because the whole point is he's listening to licensed music.
Exactly.
So if he's just like, time to play the score of the film.
Especially if, like, the lyrics are, like, relevant to what's going on in the movie at the same time, too. That's, like, a big stick. Like, if I'm, like, watching, like a movie and they have a song that comes on, I'm like, what the fuck? What does the lyrics have to do with anything going on in the scene right now? You know what movie I think the movie was, or the music was made for the movie? I'm not entirely sure, but you know what movie I hated a lot of, like, the licensed songs for? Into the Spider-Verse.
Really?
That was like my I didn't like the use of
I really like that whole soundtrack a lot.
I did not personally. There were some tracks I liked, but not all.
Thomas hates black people.
I do not.
Oh, what song do you think would improve Eraserhead if it was inserted? I know it is impossible to fix that trash fire of a movie, but please play along.
Ha ha ha. Probably like something from like that's like real kind of like folksy indie. Like he likes putting a lot of that. Like in Twin Peaks: The Return, they have like bands play at the end of episodes, and some of them are like folksy. Some of them are kind of like more electronic, but they're all like really like cryptic lyrics. So probably like something by like Chromatic or like Au I can't ever fucking pronounce that. Au revoir, Simone. God, I can't pronounce that phrase. I'm sorry, everyone listening at home whose ears are now bleeding due to my horrible pronunciation.
I think that, like, I don't have an example of a song that would fit with it, but I think that they would have to be sung in universe. Like, I think, like, a performer would have to sing it. I don't think inserting it would work. Yeah. I would think that they would need to do, like, a cover in universe, if that makes sense. Like the lady in the Radiator singing. Like, something like that. Somebody would have to actually be singing it. I don't think just inserting it would fit with the tone of the film.
Yeah. Fun fact, the song that the Radiator lady sings, In Heaven Everything's Fine, the Pixies do a cover of that. They do, like, the Where Is My Mind? Popular from David Fincher's Fight Club. And a shit ton of other things that have, like, covered it and used it again since. Like Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch?
Yeah.
Nice.
By Zack Snyder.
Nice.
You could say so.
You love that guy. Sucker Punch isn't a very good movie. I really liked it when I first saw it, though. I was like 13. I
got like maybe like 10, 15 minutes into it and then kind of just got bored.
I was like 13 and I'm like, my pee-pee hard, lots of ladies. That movie's perfect for 13-year-olds. I think Zack Snyder's movies, for the most part, are perfect for 13-year-olds.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. Thank you, Pierre, for your question and your undying admiration of everything we do. We're going to be selling our dirty socks soon, so get ready to pre-order those. $20 a pair.
Yeah, I guess we're doing that.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
I'll sell my bathwater.
You can buy my gamer girl pee.
Why is your pee brown?
Because I drink a lot of other gamer girl pee, which pollutes my gamer girl pee and makes it a little darker. Don't worry, it's
a little stronger.
Yeah, it's just prime gamer girl pee.
Yeah. If you keep making it stronger, then eventually drinking it will turn you into a gamer girl.
Isn't that the dream?
To become le gamer girl.
Alright, London.
You want my movie idea?
Yeah, what's your movie idea?
Okay. So a guy gets stuck on shift.
Oh, God.
Just kidding. Uh-oh. No, I had one this morning. I'm so fucking tired. No, I'm using that because I can't remember why.
God damn it, I was going to use that.
Nope. A guy gets stuck on shift for 36 hours, and then when he tries to leave, he finds out that he's been snowed in.
Oh.
And he can't leave. So then nobody can come and, like, take his place. So he's stuck on shift for, like, 5 days straight. And then ends up killing himself.
Sounds like quite the horrific movie.
Yeah.
Let's see. What would my movie idea be? Let's see. Alright. There is a slime monster in the sewers that's going around, and it's eating people, but it can, like, shape shift into people and, like, blend into society or something. I don't know. Spooky enough for October.
Yeah. So what is it?
It's a movie about a shape-shifting slime that absorbs
like Slimer?
people. And
it could be the Slimer origin story.
Yes.
Okay.
And it gains, like, the knowledge and, like, sentience and consciousness of every person.
And then it becomes a librarian.
Yeah, it falls in love with somebody, but everybody it falls in love with, it ends up just absorbing, and then it's like
The Blob, but a love story.
But the more people it absorbs, the uglier it becomes and more like monstrous, and then eventually like all the like different parts just like blah, and like split apart, and it's all gory and shit because it's a horror movie, I guess, or a love story. I don't know. It's something though. It's a pretty epic tale.
I love it. It's genius.
Oh, thank you.
It deserves an Oscar, I think.
Me too.
You're like the Joker.
Am I?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Joker, so
he does a dance in it.
I've seen the dance.
He does multiple dances in it, actually.
Well, I've seen the dance from the trailer.
I saw a tweet that was just like, I hope Robert Pattinson's Batman movie has the Joker in it just dancing, and then the Batman just beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Robert Pattinson's Batman movie.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, like I think he can probably do some great stuff with the role. I won't say no wrong.
I haven't seen almost any of Matt Reeves' films, so I saw War of the Planet of the Apes, the last in the trilogy. I like that one. Maybe it's because I only saw that one. I think he directed
the second one.
The second, which I've heard I've heard the first two are pretty well received.
My opinion, the first one is of that trilogy. The first one is the best one, and it's the one that's done by a different director. And then the second one, I still think the second one's like pretty good, but it is really generic. Like every generic turn it could take, like that you would expect the story to take, it takes.
It's like, wait, are these actually monkeys?
And then, yeah, I only saw the third one once. I've seen the other two a couple times, but yeah, it was pretty bad. It's just like everyone just got like slightly worse, and then the third one was just kind of like, I liked what it was going for, but something in the execution was just off. I'd have to like rewatch it to like fully grasp what like it was. I don't know. It just, Caesar was a little bit more prone to anger, and I guess his family died in like the first 2 minutes of the movie, but
Julius Caesar, the guy who made Caesar dressing.
Yep. And what the Caesarean was named after.
What does the fox say?
Because it means to cut.
Are you a fan of What Does the Fox Say?
No.
Why not?
Because I
Secret
have
of
dignity.
the Fox, an ancient mystery.
What does the fox say? It says chaos reigns.
Chaos reigns. Okay, let's jump right into Vampyr, 1932. Carl T.H. Dreyer?
Yeah.
Theodore Humbalumba Dreyer.
Yep. This movie was pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty short.
Yeah, it's short.
Very quiet.
Not much really happens in it.
Yeah, I was surprised. We're probably only going to talk about this for like 15 minutes.
Yeah. So basically, there's a dude who's into like fucking the occult kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, he likes like satanic worshippers and witches and like studying shit like that.
He's like, I'm kinky.
He finds himself in a random town, and he finds himself at a local hotel that he stays in. He gets scared by some creepy old man. And then in the middle of the night, he's sleeping, and some other old dude enters his room, and he's like, "She mustn't die." And then he's just like, "What the fuck?" So he goes to like snoop around the town and see what that was about. He ends up finding some like disconnected shadows of like workers, a guy with a peg leg, and some dancers. And then he ends up, I think this is where he first meets the doctor, but he meets like a doctor inside, and he like hears like children and animals like wailing, and then he's like, "Hey doctor, did you hear like the kids crying?" And the doctor's like, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't hear any kids crying." And then turns out that doctor is working with the old vampire lady that lives
in a shoe.
She lives in a... She, like, sleeps in a coffin, but it looks like she lives at the hotel.
Yeah. And I'm like, why don't you move your coffin over?
Yeah, just, you gotta...
Think about how long the walk is.
You gotta just put some of that soil on the ground, because they say, like, some of the old vampire myths, like, they have to, like, sleep with their coffin in, like, their native soil.
True.
So maybe it was something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just filling in the blanks with my own shit.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. What movies should make you do.
Exactly.
The less a movie tells you, the better. In some cases, I'm not just being facetious.
Dependent. Let's see. And then he ends up finding the house of the guy who, like, came into his hotel room and told him that she mustn't die. His daughter needs a blood transfusion. So the doctor who we met at the hotel is there to do that.
He looks kind of like Mario.
Yeah.
If, like, Dr. Mario was, like, creepy.
It's like Mario X, like Dr. Wily.
Yeah. Like, if they had their baby, and then the baby turned into, like, a physician in, like, the 1800s or wherever it's set.
Yeah. And so, he's like, Alan, your blood will work. And so...
Alan, come here.
Yeah. So, that happens, and it turns out he's, like, been, like, poisoning this girl instead of giving her blood.
And taking Alan's blood.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, then... Oh, God. Oh, what is it that happened? Because I watched this, like, a week ago.
Yeah. What happens in Vampyr?
Because... Oh, yeah. The shadow shoots the dad in the house.
Oh, yes.
And then the daughter, the one who needed the blood transfusion, like, ends up, like, just, like, walking out. And she gets, like, bitten by the old lady.
Yeah, bitten by the old lady. So now she's kind of cursed. And people are like, oh, why is she so sick?
Yep. And so Alan teams up with some guy. I don't remember.
I think it's like the doctor's servant or something.
Yeah, something like that.
It's just kind of a guy that shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has, like, this dream sequence.
Too much Molly. Too much rolling Molly has a dream.
Where he's, like, in a coffin and he's, like, being, like, observed, like, by the doctor who is doing the blood transfusion, the vampire, old woman, and, like, various people. And then he wakes up. They, like, find her, like, tomb. And they, like, drive a stake through her heart and kill her. And her body turns into a skeleton. And then a giant head shows up and attacks the old, like, the house with the daughters in it, I think. Is that where it attacks? Or no, it goes to the hotel, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the hotel. And it kills, like, some of, like, the bad people there.
The bad people.
Because I'm pretty sure the head is, like, the ghost of the dad who died.
Yeah.
And then...
It's kind of like in Mystery Men, how the bowler, she has her dad's skull in a bowling ball, and it's like magic, and it goes around and kills people.
Yeah.
It's like that.
That, or it's like Dr. Nobi in Evil Dead 2, when, like, his head, like, kind of just pops up for a little bit.
Or, like, when I die, I'm going to kill you. My head's going to detach from its body and come and eat your soul.
Oh.
So get excited.
Good thing I don't believe in souls. Anyway.
I meant the soles of your feet.
Oh, you would. Let's see. And then Alan finds the one girl who needed the blood transfusion and like walks away with her, presumably back home. I guess they're like in the woods when they're walking.
Yeah.
Away, so, and that's how the movie ends.
Yeah.
And it's pretty simple. It's pretty direct.
Yeah. I like how they kill the doctor. How he gets flooded with sand or grain. It's great.
Yeah. And the dude who kills him, like, I was like, holy shit, Michael Myers? It looked like so much like Michael Myers. I was like, what the fuck? But I was aghast. I was like, I had no idea. I
had no idea he was so old.
Yeah, because, it's like
his great grandpuppy.
I wonder if, like, this had, like, any inspiration, because I know, like, it was just, like, a William Shatner mask that they sprayed, like, white for Halloween.
Yeah.
So it's probably just, like, a coincidence, but, like, this looked so much like Michael Myers. I'm like, this has to, like, partly inspire it.
Kind of looked like Mike Myers as well.
Oh, just a smidge.
I just want Mike Myers to play Michael Myers, you know? It'd be great.
It'd be interesting.
He'd like wear a Mike Myers mask as well. Like that they spray paint white.
Yeah, it's
so
like
it'd be him wearing a mask of himself.
It's like that joke in Baby Driver where they were gonna wear the Mike Myers mask. Michael Myers mask.
Yeah. That's a good joke.
I feel like the Halloween masks are like so easy to come across, but I've never fucking seen an Austin Powers mask outside of that movie in my life. So
I feel like I probably have seen like one, but it was like 2005 when Austin Powers was a big thing.
Yeah,
we should get like Willem Dafoe masks made. So then we can be Willem Dafoe. We can finally be someone useful. Yeah, but this movie, unfortunately, what they did was they filmed it in 3 separate languages so that they could release it in 3 separate times. But to do that, they wanted it to be sound, but
they shot like very little dialogue.
Yeah, they wrote the script and had very little, so it makes some of the scenes
title cards
seem very long. Yeah. It's just, unfortunately, I thought a lot of the film ended up being kind of boring.
Yeah, it definitely
just because they were trying to do like a sound film, but then they're like, oh no, we can't. We don't have the budget to make all this dialogue in 3 languages.
There are things I did really enjoy about it, aside from like that huge glaring flaw, which is like pacing. I like that they like had the vampire be like this old woman.
Yeah. She was so sexy.
Oh yeah.
Like the skeleton.
Best part.
I like both the vampires. I like the doctor's death. Like there were things that I liked.
Yeah.
And I liked the movie overall. I just thought like it was kind of boring.
Yeah.
Which I was sad because I was like going into it. I'm like, this is gonna be epic.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. This one, like, when it like came out, obviously it didn't do very well. There weren't a whole lot of fans of it. It's kind of gotten like a cult following over the years because of its like atmosphere and some of like the choices like that. But yeah, I really don't have much else to say on this one. There's not much like to say really.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple film, pretty well executed besides the dialogue stuff, and pretty middling.
Yeah.
I'd give this one a 6.
I also give this one a 6.
So that means our average is a 6. So yeah, watch it if you want. You're not missing much, unfortunately, at least according to London. So if you don't want to watch it, no biggie.
Yeah, just look up...
watch Or Day, though. I've heard that one's really good.
Or Day and The Passion of Joan of Arc.
Yeah, so I want to see that one.
2 like big other ones aside from this one that I've heard of. But yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
Antichrist, Lars von Trier.
That was something that fucked me up.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I fucking love Antichrist. Antichrist is a pretty just divisive film, unfortunately. A lot of my favorites are like a Serbian film. It's not as divisive as that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are like, Lars von Trier hates women. Antichrist hates women. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It hates a single woman.
Yeah, I mean, that single woman's idea on women is kind of...
Yeah, but that's not like Lars von Trier's.
As far as we know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I haven't seen his other stuff with female leads. Like, I want to watch Dogville and, like, Dancer in the Dark.
Well, jumping just a smidge ahead here. Because it brings up hatred for women in the other movie of his that we watched.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember. And we can dive deeper into that once we get to that movie. I just wanted to bring up that point.
Yeah. But I don't think he hates women.
Hopefully not.
I do think he was extremely depressed when he wrote this. He was actually hospitalized for depression. And he wrote that he wrote this film during that.
I know he was...
So that's why this was horribly depressing.
Makes sense. I also know he was really, really terrible to Bjork.
Yes, which is why I haven't watched Dancer in the Dark, even though it seems amazing, and I love Bjork. Lars von Trier is the reason she quit acting, and that makes me so angry. Fuck you, Lars von Trier. But also, I really like this movie, so fuck you again.
Yeah. Wow. So
this movie is... It has only 2 characters for almost the entire thing. There is a son character, so there's he, she, and boy, I believe, is their like names in the credits. The boy, the film opens, black and white, orchestral music. Willem Dafoe is fucking a lady. I can't remember her name, but I feel bad because I should at least know the other person in this movie's name.
Yeah. Because she does a great job.
Yeah, she's really scary. Charlotte Gainsbourg. Gainsbourg. Charlotte Gainsbourg. He's fucking her. They're fucking. And then the baby wakes up. He's probably like 2.5, 3 years old. And he's wandering around. He opens his baby gate. He's wandering around. He sees an open window. He climbs up. And he's like on the edge of the window. He's like, la la la.
Yep.
And then he falls. And as he's falling, you see Willem Dafoe and Charlotte coming. Like, they're in the middle of, like, orgasming as their child is dying.
Yes.
It's beautifully shot scene.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. And then, cut to the funeral. They're behind the car. The hearse walking. This scene's really good. Yeah.
Like, Willem Dafoe's just walking, and he's, like, crying. He's, like, reaching out for the car. And then his wife, Charlotte, she, like, faints. She, like, collapses, faints, starts crying. And then it cuts. And we learn more about them, that Willem Dafoe is a therapist or a psychologist or something. A therapist, I think.
Yeah.
And he's trying to fix her, pretty much, without actually dealing with it himself, too.
Yeah, because
he's being dumb.
Yeah, I agree with, like, some of his concern.
I just don't. I agree with the doctor who talks, like, she says that, like, the doctor says that a therapist shouldn't, like, be treating his own wife.
No,
and I definitely agree with that.
No, that's the point I agree with. I would have, like, Willem Dafoe, because, like, the next scene at the funeral, he's visiting his wife in, like, the hospital, and she's like, he asks her a question, she's like, I just answered that. And he's like, that was, like, yesterday. And she's like, how long have I been here? He's like, 2 months. She's on, like, heavy medication, and he's like, this isn't, like, good for your grief. And she's like, well, my therapist says I have an atypical mourning process, and he's like, well, this isn't healthy. And I agree, I probably would have, like, tried out a different therapist.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But just being like, I know what's best for my wife. Yeah. Even if you're a therapist, that's fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
But he takes her home. She, like, stops taking some of her medication. She pours it down the drain. And they just start kind of going crazy. They go from, like, fighting all the time to, like, fucking all the time.
Yeah. He tries not to at first because he's like, no, this is bad. It's a distraction. But she just is so, like, manic and getting, like, out of hand that, like, sometimes he's just like, oh, fuck, I get it.
Time to fuck. Oh.
Yeah. And, yeah, he's basically just like, fucking her and then like taking like psych notes. She makes points like, you were never really there for us, you were always really distant, and now that I'm your patient, you're really like involved with me and like paying attention to me because now you find me interesting as opposed to before. And he's like trying to figure out like what she fears most, and it starts off because she's like, I don't know what scares me. He's like, all right, well, where scares you? And I think she says Eden, and then she talks about like this cabin in the woods that they stayed at for a period of time without him, her and the son, where she was like doing like a college thesis. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I believe so. She was working on like a thesis or like a book. Yeah, I think it was a thesis.
Yeah.
But they talk about this cabin, how it's like her greatest fear because it's like the last place she really connected with her son or something like that. And like she keeps having dreams about it.
Yeah. So
they slowly like start getting into it just in her mind, like retracing her steps, trying to make her less sad about it. Mm-hmm. And then they take a trip there.
Yep.
And then everything starts to go to shit.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much as soon as they get there. Like, the first, like, night's okay, I guess. Like,
yeah, because
they're okay. They're figuring stuff out.
They walk up the hill, and then she, like, decides she needs to lay down, and Willem Dafoe, like, goes and walks off a little bit, and then, like, finds, like, a deer that's, like, giving birth and running away.
Yeah, the deer had... Well, I think it's like always like that. The deer just has like a dead fetus like halfway out of it, but it's just there.
Okay. I didn't notice that in the later scenes.
Yeah, no, it's still there. Like when it's laying down, it's still just there, like against the floor.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, so the deer, and it's like looking at him, it's like, whoa! And then it runs off.
And then, yeah, so they
go to the cabin. It's pretty much the same stuff. They're just like talking.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Doing the occasional, like, game to try to help her conquer her fear. Like, there's one part where they, like, take her out and, like, get her to try to, like... She's, like, afraid of the grass and, like, the front steps. So he, like, sets up, like, these big rocks and, like, tries to get her to, like, walk from each rock to each rock.
Mm-hmm.
And, trying to think. Trying to remember what happens here. Because I know at one point, I don't know if it's like right after the rock scene where they do that, but she like wakes up one morning and she's like, I'm fine. I'm back to normal. But I think some other stuff might happen.
They fuck.
They fuck
outside.
At one point,
in a tree.
Yeah, they do that.
And then it starts zooming out, and it's like, wait, the tree's made of people.
Yep.
Did you like that scene? Were you like, what the fuck?
I wasn't like, what the fuck, but I was like, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty epic.
And then he goes upstairs and reads, like, about, like, her, like, notes on what she was writing. It's about, like, satanic cults and shit, and it just kind of becomes, like, less and less legible as it goes on and more like crazy. And
yeah. And like at one point he finds a picture of his son. Like he finds out that his son had like they had an autopsy on the son just to like check on things to see if there was any foul play or anything. They found out his feet were like
damaged.
Yeah, it was they had gotten like pretty damaged. They had been like bent the toes had been bending the wrong way.
Yeah.
And Willem Dafoe found a bunch of pictures of him, like, having his shoes tied in, like, the wrong shoe on the wrong foot. And it cut back to, like, the mom, like, tying it and be like...
Yeah. And she also shared this, like, one dream that she had. Or, like, this one experience she had when she was there with the son. It's her dream experience. I don't know quite which, but, like... She hears her son crying and she's like going in the woods, but like she can't find him. And then she like opens the door and he's like just like sitting there with playing toys and he's not crying, but the crying's like still going on.
And it's just obvious. It just gets more and more obvious as this movie goes. You think she's just grieving, and it's like, oh no, she's just crazy.
The second she was like, when she was like, I'm normal now. I'm like, she's been faking this whole fucking time.
And then it pretty much goes like that for a while, and then everything goes to shit. Willem Dafoe realizes that, like, the thing she's scared of the most, he has, like, a pyramid of what she's scared of, and in the middle is Eden, but she says it's not at the top, so he's like, he goes in and he's like, me?
Yeah.
So he thinks it's her that she's the most afraid of, and I think this is the time she runs in.
Yep, it's because he goes out to the barn, writes me, and then immediately turns around and gets hit in the fucking head with a just log of wood.
Yeah, and they start, like, fucking again. She tries to, like, fuck him again.
Yeah, she's like, you're gonna fucking leave me? She tries, like...
So they start fucking, and then she gets up, and she grabs, like, a...
She grabs the wood again.
Oh, yeah, it's like a log, and she fucking hits him in the dick with it. Yeah. And he passes out from the pain, because that fucking hurts.
And then she jerks him off.
And blood starts spurting out.
Yep. And
that's why I said everyone should watch Antichrist except Lucero, because he doesn't like things that hurt pee-pee.
I told him about the scissor scene.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that. What do you say about that one? That makes me, like, a lot of things don't make me physically cringe. That one does.
No.
Every time. Oh, my God.
That's why I told Lucero about it, because I was like, Antichrist is the first movie to make me, like, wince at something. And he was like, I'm like, do you want to know what it is? And he's like, kind of, because he's always asking me, like, what kind of shit unnerves me. And I was like, ooh, that fucking unnerved me pretty good. I think the thing that unnerved me the most about it was I just wasn't expecting it to happen.
Yeah.
And it just kind of came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, whoa. I was, like, covering my eyes, but, like, peeking out just to see, like, a little bit. Because I... the morbid curiosity and to know when it was over. But, yeah, so she, after she hits him in the dick and he, like, comes blood, she, goes and she gets, like, what is it? A wench?
Yeah, she gets, like a giant clamp that's, like, screwed into something. I don't remember what exactly it is. But she...
It's like an axe sharpener.
This also makes me... It doesn't, like, make me physically cringe, but it just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, she stabs him in the leg.
She drills through his leg.
Oh, yeah.
With, like, a hand drill. Mm-hmm. And it's just, like, slowly seeping through, and she's just like... And I'm like, ah!
And then she sticks the axe sharpener, which is, like, attached to, like, this, like, metal rod, and then she, like, takes a bolt and, like, bolts it shut on his leg.
Yeah, so and throws the wrench underneath, like, the main house. They're in, like, a side place right now.
Yeah.
And then she just walks off.
Yep.
And then he wakes up. His pants are still down. Like, his dick's still out. He has, like, blood all over. And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, ah!
He's, like, hyperventilating in his sleep right before he wakes up.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh.
He wakes up in pain with a giant... He can't stand up because this thing's probably, like, 30 pounds on his leg. And, like, it's in such an awkward place. In the bone. He's not going to be able to, like, stand on that.
Yeah.
And he, like... So he just starts, like, slowly crawling. He's looking for, like, a wrench. He can't find it anywhere. And, like... So then he just starts, like, crawling into the woods.
Yeah, to hide from her. And then he finds a little cave. And then she, like, goes back to where he was, sees that he's missing, and then she starts freaking.
Yeah, she's like, where are you? You're gonna leave me!
Yeah.
You fucking dick!
So he crawls into this little cave.
Yeah, it's like a little, like...
Like a little, like, burrow.
Yeah, burrow. And there's, like, a crow inside.
Yeah.
It's like, hi!
And it starts making a lot of noise, and he tries killing it, and it stops for a second.
And then he just starts, like, smashing it, and it's like, ah!
And then she hears that, goes straight for the cave, and then she, like, grabs a shovel, and it's like...
And she like, tries to just, like, hit him out and be like, get out of there!
But he, like, gets a boulder.
And he's like, get... Well, no, she hits the boulder. She's, like, trying to hit him out, and she accidentally hits the boulder, and it rolls in.
Oh, I thought he, like, kicked the boulder over with, like, his good leg. Okay, that makes sense.
So then she goes on top of the burrow and just starts, like, digging, and it's just burying him alive.
Yeah, but he's like unconscious.
Yeah, and he like goes unconscious, and then she like suddenly like switches, and she's like, "Oh, what have I done?" She's like being nice again. So then she gets him out, and he's like, "I need your help." And so they crawl back to the main house, and he's like, "I need the wrench," and she's like, "I can't find it."
Yeah. And then he's like, "Are you gonna kill me?" And she's like, "Well, I can't kill you.
Not yet. I need to wait for the 3 beggars or whatever."
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
We forgot. The crow is one of them. The deer is one of them.
And then,
in a dream sequence, it shows the fox, who's the last beggar. Technically, it was the second introduced, but he's like eating, I think, the deer, right? Or he's eating something.
I thought he was eating his own genitals. It's kind of...
Oh, he was eating himself.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was his genitals, but he definitely was eating himself.
Yeah.
And then he like looks up and he goes, says, "Chaos reigns."
It was pretty...
I guess he's one of the speaking roles as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then they're waiting in there for the 3 beggars.
She grabs some scissors.
They walk in first, all 3 of them, and they lay down together. I'm like, oh, cute. Only 2 of them, because the crow is
under the floorboard with
the crow is right
clamp
next to the wrench to get the clamp off or whatever. Yeah, but she takes a nice pair of scissors. She starts touching her little puss.
Yep.
And then she takes her scissors and just cuts off her clitoris.
Yep.
She goes, and then screams, and there's blood gushing, and I physically cringe every time I watch. I've only watched it twice, but I'm like, oh, and I know what's coming. I'm like, oh. It's probably because how nonchalant it is. It's not like anything. She just grabs it and she's like,
yeah, like I said, it had caught me so off guard, and they like focus like a good few seconds before she actually like goes through and cuts it. So I was just like, I had like my hand up with like my open finger. I'm like, oh no, don't do it. Oh no, you did it. Oh no. It was rough.
Yeah, it was a journey.
Yeah. So basically at that point, he tries to get that off his leg. He like loosens the bolt a little bit, and then he decides like fuck it and just like rips it out of his leg. And then he's like fighting with her for the scissors because the 3 beggars are there, and one of them has to die. And then, oh god, I don't remember specifically how it happened. But he kills her.
Yes, he breaks that down, and then he just strangles her.
Yeah, that's what it was. Man, he really likes those strangulations.
Yeah, he loves strangling. Lars von Trier probably has an asphyxiation, strangulation fetish.
Every famous director does. Quentin Tarantino has feet. Kubrick has bathrooms. Gaspar Noé apparently has an incest thing that runs through his movies. So, yeah. Woo!
Well, I've only seen 2 Noé films, so maybe.
One of them for sure had it. Yeah. We didn't see that particular theme in the other one that we watched.
Yeah. Oh.
Which I won't even mention the title. That way you watch it and you won't have it spoiled whether there is or is not incest porn in the movie.
Yeah, guys.
But yeah,
and then he wanders out, and like it's day breaking.
He before he wanders out, he like ties her to like fucking like a tree first, doesn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Like hangs her up like Jesus.
Yeah, women are Jesus. And then he wanders off into the woods, and then
a bunch of
100 women start surrounding him.
It was a bunch of faceless women. And they're like walking past him, and he's like, they're coming like from the opposite direction, and then it shows like him, and he like turns around and like starts walking in the direction that they all are.
Yep. And then the movie ends.
Yep.
And I really, really like this movie.
Yeah, and it was dedicated to Andrei Tarkovsky.
Yes.
I still haven't seen any of his movies.
Did he do Stalker?
He did Stalker.
I watched like the first 40 minutes of Stalker with Tina Fey, but it's a long movie, and she's not.
it's hard for her to watch long movies, so we just didn't finish it.
Mm.
But the first 40 minutes are really good, so I do want to watch it.
Yeah, no, I want to watch like all of his movies.
Yeah.
I hear they're all pretty good.
But, yeah. And this movie is really beautiful.
Yeah.
It has really, really great shots.
Some of the shots in it did remind me of like shit that I've seen like from caps of Tarkovsky movies. So
it seems like Von Trier is very learned a lot from him. Influenced by. Sorry, I can't talk today. I'm very tired.
Me too. Don't worry. You're not alone. And I'm sure if the listeners are our age, they're also probably tired.
We're all tired.
Yeah, this movie is fucking insane. Oh, one other thing that happened. Right before he kills the wife, we get the revelation that she saw, right?
Oh yeah, cuts back to the beginning scene where they're having sex, and she's watching the child as he goes out the window, and she smiles a smile of content.
Yep.
Oh my god. This movie's fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
But it's very good.
I also like fucked up movies a lot, and I like horribly depressing movies a lot. That's why That's why I always recommend. You've seen Martyrs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, watch that, this, and Serbian Film back to back, and then you'll be depressed for your entire life.
Yeah, probably. Let's see if you can make it through that night if you watch all 3 consecutively.
Yeah, but fun fact, you know about this, but Willem Dafoe, he had a penis double in this movie because Lars von Trier was afraid that it would take away from the film's tone if they used his real penis, because he didn't think people would believe it was his real penis. Yeah. Because it's so abnormally large for a man of his size, apparently. And I'm like, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, good for Willem Dafoe.
I'm like, what does Willem Dafoe have, a 9-inch dick?
He must. I don't know.
Because the dick in the movie isn't small. It's probably 7 inches.
Yeah, no, it's a decent size.
So I'm like, Willem Dafoe's fucking packing it.
Yeah.
Must be all that Norman Osborn money.
Probably.
I'm something of a scientist myself. He made his dick bigger.
Yeah. He used the penis enlarging pump from Austin Powers.
Yeah. And he wore the Mike Myers mask.
From Baby Driver.
From Halloween.
Oh, yes.
Halloween starring Mike Myers. Yeah, so, you have any other thoughts on this movie? I think everyone should watch this. Just, you gotta be in the right mood.
Yeah, I don't really have any, deep thoughts. I'm still, digesting a lot of it.
Yeah, I feel it.
It was my first time watching it, so it's just whoa.
Whoa, that was epic.
But yeah, no, I'd probably give this, a 9.
Yeah. When I first watched it, I gave it a 9. I'm sticking with a 9. I think it's very, very good. Very good. The acting's brilliant in the movie.
Yeah, it is.
They're both fantastic. Let's make Antichrist 2, where she's like a ghost.
Oh.
And he's leave me alone.
It'd be Ghostmates.
Oh my gosh. What? Do you think Ghostmates would have been better if it was Willem Dafoe instead of Ian?
Yes.
And he's the ghost, but it's still Anthony from Smallville.
I mean, it would have been better.
I think Anthony with other people might actually be okay, as an actor.
Perhaps. I have no evidence to back that up.
What if Willem Dafoe was in a Death Note movie?
Man, that would be really great casting, but only if they underutilized him and had him in 3 minutes of the whole fucking movie.
What if he was in Spider-Man? Anyway, we did watch a third film. You did watch it, right?
I did.
Okay. This is the latest Lars von Trier film. It's called The House That Jack Built. And I thought it was pretty fun. I liked it. I was laughing a lot, actually.
Thomas did not like it.
I didn't like a lot about it. That's for sure. I didn't. All right. So the first scene where we get the visuals with like the scene where he like picks up Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
That whole first scene is so fucking horribly edited. Like, if you go back and watch it, like, pay attention to, like, the flow and the pacing of the dialogue, it is atrocious.
I like the first scene. Like, I like what it was going for. I like the acting in it. I like the dialogue enough. Like, that it was supposed to be, like, insufferable and stuff. Like, it was like, oh!
Yeah.
But, no, I agree with the editing. And I think the film, like, was, for the most part, edited fine after that. I thought it was mostly that first, like... because it's split into 5... So, the film takes place, it's about a serial killer. He's dead. He's getting escorted to the afterlife by Virgil, the famous Roman poet.
Yes.
I bought this book by Virgil because of this movie.
Oh, nice.
So, gonna read some Virgil. And I'm like, I hope he sounds just like this.
He might. I don't know. I've never read any of Virgil.
And then it just takes place as they're walking through the afterlife, like to the afterlife. Jack, played by Matt Dillon, tells them of 5 different incidents about like how he became a serial killer. The first being like the catalyst, and the 5th being the last, and then the other 3 supposedly just being random.
Yeah. And all of them except for the last are women. And that's the point that's brought up in the movie.
Yeah.
We brought that up earlier.
Well, I don't know. The third one. Is it the third one? That's children, too.
Yeah, the children, yes.
Yes.
They were like little boys, so I guess they don't count as women, I guess.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah. Technically.
Technically,
boys are not women. That's correct, Thomas. You did it. So the first incident is him picking up Uma Thurman, and her car's broken down, and she's a bitch, and her car jack is broken, and she like insists that he drive her to like a repair shop that he knows about, and he does, and she gets it fixed, and they go back, and it breaks again, and she insists he does it again.
Yep.
So they do. And then they start to do it, and all this time she's been like, are you a serial killer? Like, she's just being the fucking worst. She's like, oh, you're so ugly. Like, she's just saying all this awful stuff. But then she says, you could never be a serial killer. You're such a fucking wimp, pretty much. And then he just slams the brakes, grabs the tire iron, or the car jack, and just beats her face in.
Yep.
Just once, just then dead.
Yeah, no, I wasn't a fan of any of that opening sequence.
I like the sequence. I don't like the editing, but I was fine with the sequence. I thought Uma Thurman was very annoying.
I thought the dialogue was a little too hammy. I thought the camera work was really bad.
No, I do think, like, I thought there were some pretty good shots in the movie.
Yeah.
And I thought the camera work was, for the most part, pretty, like, decent to good. But I do think, like, the first whole bit... But at the same time, when I was watching that and reflecting on it later, I'm like, was this intentional? Because, you know what I'm saying? Because everything else worked fine in the movie. So I'm like, did he just purposely make the first incident, like, poorly put together because it was poorly put together? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because serial killers, like, they usually, like, have messy, like, first couple kills while they're figuring out how, like, their MO.
Which I'm fine with that if that was the intention, but the intention wasn't put out clear enough.
Yeah.
So, like, if that's the case, then he did a good job. He just should have done the intent.
Yeah, I'd argue that his next attempt, his next successful kill was way
messier. Yeah.
And
but it was way better shot. And, like,
yeah.
Also, I thought it was really funny.
I was just so, like, fucking dumbfounded because I was like, I don't know what this movie's, like, really going for. But
it does have a lot of tonal shifts because I think the first 2 kills are pretty comedic. And then the third is just kind of horrific.
Yeah, until he does like the taxidermy thing.
Which makes it funny again.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I like burst out laughing when I saw that. But I'm fucked up and I'm a stupid dumb hoe. So the second kill, they move on, second kill. He's kind of like casing a joint. He sees like an older lady. She was probably like 50, 60. She's like walking home with groceries. And then he goes to her door. And this is so fucking messy. And he tries to convince her he's a cop. And she's like, "Where's your badge then?" And he's like, "Oh, it's down at the silversmith."
Yeah, and then
It's important to note that like Matt Dillon's like really awkward the first couple kills. Just like as a person. But as he gets better at killing, he becomes more comfortable as a person as well.
Yeah, there's like a scene where he like studies like how to portray human emotions and
yeah, there's a couple scenes where he's just like, and he has a bunch of pictures against his wall.
Yep.
And he's like smiling. He's like, "This is a sad face. This is a scary face."
Yep.
And honestly, I said this to somebody, but I'm like, this should have been the Joker movie. The house that the Joker built.
I can't say that for certain because I haven't seen the new Joker yet.
I liked it enough, but this was better. I did really like this movie. I know you didn't, but I'm dumb. So then he does eventually convince her to get inside by saying that he's not actually a police officer. He's an insurance agent. And he uses that police officer story as a cover-up to see, like, if people are good people, I guess, and smart. She's obviously very stupid, and he brings that up later.
Yeah, all the women that he attacks,
yes.
They bring that point up as well, because he's like, you just have a thing for women that you think are stupider than you, because it makes you feel
powerful. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is like he's so uncomfortable that he only can like target people that like he thinks are at a disadvantage, whether or not like the thing is everyone's at a disadvantage. So because he's always sneaking up on them or has a weapon, like
yeah. But
he does get his way in. He says that he can increase her pension because her husband had died like 3 months before or something. By double. And I'm like, what the fuck?
And then he gets inside and like immediately he's like, you know how fucking embarrassing.
And she's like, I'm sorry. And then he kills her. What does he do? Does he just
he strangles
her?
And then she doesn't die.
Yeah, she's like, because he doesn't really know how to strangle people either.
Yeah.
So then he's like, oh, what do I do? He's like trying to help her. He's like, I'm sorry.
So he gets a pillow, puts it up over her head, strangles her a little more, and then takes a knife and stabs her in the chest.
Just to make sure, yeah.
Which leads to one of my least favorite scenes in the movie.
What, the cleaning scene?
Yes.
Oh. I love this scene. So
if it had done it like once, twice maybe. He
wraps her up and puts her in the back of his van. And then it's important to note that he's like he has like crippling OCD. And with like a cleaning, he needs to clean. So he keeps having like visions of like blood underneath the carpet or like under a lamp or things he like never touched. So he keeps going back in the house to like clean really well.
Yeah, and it's funny because like we the audience, it's like saw how much blood came out of her, and it really like it wasn't like a squirt. Like it had a little squirt, but like it didn't like it wasn't like hitting the head with the mist everywhere. It seemed like it was just a little like burst of blood, and it seemed like he got it pretty well. But he's just
he keeps going back. He goes like under the carpet, like right where she was. You're like, okay, that's understandable. Yeah. He goes to like the lamp, and then as it keeps going, it's like behind a picture frame that's like 8 feet away.
Yeah,
I was more okay with it and thought it was funny just because he kept going further. Like the last one, I'm like, what the fuck? And the last time he goes in was literally as he could hear sirens, but he's like, oh, I gotta go back and clean. Yeah. So then he sees the police is coming, so he like throws her body
into the bushes.
And he
gets in
he gets in his van, and the police come up to him, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" They're like, "Can I ask you a few questions?" And they're like, there was a break-in down the street.
As bad of a serial killer as he is at this point in the movie is how bad this cop is.
Yeah, the cop is worse.
Yes.
So, and I'm like, good. Lars von Trier gets it. Cops are stupid.
That cop certainly fucking was.
So, he's like, oh, you got a bigger problem than a break-in. Cindy's, I don't remember her name. Cindy's missing. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, I've been waiting out here. She said she was going to go get something for me. She just hasn't come out. So then they go in together, and he's like, I don't know where they are. And the cop's like, you need to get out. And he's like, I need to help. The cop's like, get the fuck out. And the cop, like, makes him get out. And as soon as, like, the cop turns his back, he grabs the body and just ties it to the back of the van and starts just, like, driving away at high speeds.
Yep.
And he doesn't notice that this body, it's, like, wrapped in plastic, but its face is just being dragged against the concrete, and there's just a steady, like, trail of blood behind him.
Yep. And then it starts to rain, and he takes it as a sign from God.
Yes, he takes it back to his little base, which we didn't talk about.
Oh, yeah.
He bought a walk-in freezer in like the middle of the city, like off a random road. Yeah. I think it was called like Prospect Avenue, but the sign was broken, so nobody really knew what that street was called. Quote from the Bill.
Yeah.
So he has like a walk-in freezer full of pizzas that he's also just shoveling all these bodies into. So he unwraps the body afterwards, and her face is just completely off.
Yeah.
Thought that was some pretty good effects. Thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, like this movie has like good production value, minus the first scene.
Yeah. So then, part of this same incident is he goes and he kills another person?
Let's see. The third person he kills is the mom and the two boys, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but he kills another person in the second incident, and because this is when he starts to pose them. He, remember he drives back to the place?
No, that's,
or is that the fourth one?
That's the fourth one.
Oh.
Because, it's the blonde girl.
Huh.
She's only in, one scene. It's not the one that he, has, that, seemingly, longer-term relationship with. It's, literally, a girl. He's in her apartment. He only strangles her. And then, takes her puts her in the freezer. She gets, frozen in that weird position. And then on the way back to her place, because he's like, well, I wasn't satisfied with how the photos turned out, so I'm going to go back. And then he hits the homeless lady. Or, not the homeless lady, but the lady that's, walking on the side of the road. And then takes them back, both over to pose for some pictures. Because another point that we forgot to bring up, he likes taking pictures with the bodies.
Yes. And he starts, and then the second one is the one where he sends the picture in, because then he gets the nickname. He gives himself the nickname, Mr. Sophistication.
After
and this whole thing is
everything.
Yeah, he's obsessed with convincing Virgil that murder is an art form.
Yeah,
and Virgil's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" He's like, "You're a dumbass."
Yeah.
So then it cuts to the third act, or the third incident.
Yep.
Where
he's taking...
He's dating this woman, and she has two sons, and they go out to a shooting range. And he's teaching these boys how to hunt, or he's hunting, I don't like.
Yeah.
He's I don't like pain. He's lying.
Yeah.
But he's teaching them to shoot and stuff. And everything seems to be going well. And then it cuts back to him just talking to Virgil and stuff. And then it cuts back and the woman and her kids are hiding from him. Obviously something went down. And he's just trying to shoot him.
Yeah.
And he's hoo hoo hoo. And he eventually does. He shoots the boy first. And then
shoots him shoots his like leg off.
Yeah, and then
the other kid like sticks his head up and gets shot in the head.
And then he just shoots them all. And they all die.
Yeah. Well, before he shoots the mom, he makes her like
run. Yeah.
Well, he sits them all down and like makes her like try to feed the
dead son
pie.
And then he says like,
"I'll give you." He starts counting.
He's like, "I'll give you 15 seconds." And she doesn't even like get up because she's so traumatized until like 9 or 10 seconds have passed. And then she starts like just kind of walking because she's like, "I'm just gonna die."
Yeah.
And then she dies.
Yep. And yeah, then he takes them back, and then he talks about his new interest with the kids because he does like the taxidermy thing where like he uses their rigor mortis to like pose them how he wants by like putting like steel wire and like making them like smile or frown or whatever the fuck, and he makes so really creepy looking dead.
He gives the dead kid like a Joker smile.
Yeah.
And when it first showed this, I was just sitting in the darkness and I just burst out laughing.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
I mean,
at least like juxtaposed against what just happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, I have this like pit in my stomach. I'm like, Jesus, that was intense. And then that happens. And I'm like, then it goes to the fourth scene.
Yeah.
Where he is like, he's been dating this girl for like, he says he had like fallen or he had like gotten strong feelings for her. But this whole time he's been lying to her. He has like a crutch he's using. He like pretends he has like a limp. He's like looking all cool. He has like slicked back hair. He's like super personable.
Yeah.
But he's also the worst to her. Yes. Like, I'm like, why is she with him in the first place? This is all poor woman.
Because as we learned, her character is not bright.
Yeah, her name is Jacqueline, I think. Simple. And he always calls her Simple because he's like, because you're fucking stupid. And he like says that to her over and over.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
And then he tells her that he's killed 60 people.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's like, what do you mean you've killed 60 people? And then he's like, 61. She's like, but you just said 60. He's like, that could change in a couple minutes.
She's like, what? And then he's like, will you go grab me a magic marker?
And he draws
like the
like surgeon cutting marks around her breasts.
And she's like, you're weird.
Yeah, and then she thinks that he might actually be like a murderer, so she runs out. This is after they've been drinking, so she runs out of the apartment and sees like a cop and like is like, the guy I'm with says he's killed 60 people. And then he wanders out without his crutch, and he's like, everything she says is right. And he just pretends to be really drunk, but she's like, oh yeah, I'm the guy. Yeah. And the cop's just like, this cop's also terrible too. Like, all the cops, genius. And he's like, can you go take him back inside? And she does.
Well, no, because he has that one line that like wins her over, because he's like, and I treat her way horribly than I should.
Yeah, he's like, it seems like he's a little remorseful, and she's very gullible, so she does it. It's also important to note that her apartment locks from the inside, like with a key. Like, you need to unlock it with the key, even from the inside.
Yeah.
And when she ran out, she left the keys in the door. And as they come back in, like, you can see that they aren't there. She obviously doesn't notice this at first. And he's like, I'm going to kill you, pretty much.
Yeah.
And she tries to go through the door. It's locked. And he goes on one of his scary monologues. And he's like, you better start screaming. And she starts to scream, and nobody will help her because it's a city and people are awful people.
Yep.
So nobody's helping her. She's like outside the window. She's like, help me, somebody. He's like, this city won't help anybody. And I'm like, it's Joker. This could have been in Gotham.
Yeah.
Batman jumps through the window. So then it just cuts.
And he puts a boob on.
He obviously he killed her. Yeah. And then he's walking down the street and he sees a parked cop car, and the cop's like interrogating somebody in the alley. So he just, under the windshield wiper, the back windshield wiper, he just pops her boob.
Yep.
And then he walks off.
And then he runs over a lady in this one?
I want to...
No, I think it is in the second one.
No, because I think before the fourth one, because he has like 2 blonde ladies. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. There's the one that he like cuts the boob off of, and there's one that he just strangles.
Yeah.
And it's the time that he is, because he like strangles the one, because I know that it's a different apartment she lives in, because her apartment's much like cleaner, while the one with the boob was at like a trashier part of town. But yeah, I think it either happened fourth or it might have happened fifth. I don't know if it happened before or after the boob. I don't quite remember. But yeah, he strangles
it's either part of the
woman.
fourth. I think it's part of the fourth, I guess, because the fifth is only that one. So it's either part of the fourth or maybe the third, I guess, after the kids. But he does kill another woman and the lady that he just runs over.
Yeah.
And then, like, that's when he's like, and that's when I started getting, like, more dangerous. I think it was the third then, because that would make more sense.
Yeah.
And he, like, takes them back to the apartment after they're frozen and, like, poses them and to take more, like, better shots of it.
Yeah. He's like, my OCD's been going away. I don't need to clean up the
I realized that, like, sometimes the best attempt to, like, hide is hiding in plain sight. So then he just starts running across. Like, there's a woman in an apartment you can see, and he just, like, is running, and she just, like, is looking, just conveniently, like, looking the other way each time, and, like, turns, and then he, like, runs past again. Yeah. And he's not even looking. He's just going for it. Mm-hmm. So then we cut to the fifth incident. He's gotten really bold. He's like, this is it. He's like, this is my big finish kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he does realize that the cops are getting closer every day, but he wants to do something crazy. So he, like, it opens up with him, like, driving his van up to his freezer, and there's a black man in the back of his van, like, handcuffed. And he's like, I'm going to fucking shoot you unless you do what I say. And he, like, unhandcuffs him and handcuffs him behind his back. And they go in the freezer, and there's a row of, like, 4 other men on, like a bench.
Yeah,
like, all, like... Their heads are all, like, right next to each other in, like, a line. They're all, like, bent over and, like, tied like that. And he puts it there. And right before this, he had, like, bought a bullet. Or he bought a bunch of bullets, and they were supposed to be Full Metal Jacket. And he's, like, telling them, he's like, this Full Metal Jacket will pierce through all of your skulls. And I wanted to see that happen in one line. I want to see one bullet. Because he was talking about how in, like, World War I, they needed to conserve ammo. So they would get, like, prisoners and, like, tie them together and, like, shoot them all at once kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, why don't you just use, like, an axe? Just, like, in the war, like, to execute people. Like, what's the point? If you want to conserve ammo, don't use ammo.
Yeah.
But then the guy he just brought in, the black guy, he's like, sir, that's not a Full Metal Jacket. And he's like, what the fuck did you say to me? And it turns out it isn't. The box had been mislabeled. So he, like, drives back to the ammo shop, and the guy, like, won't sell it to him. He's like, I can't do it. And he's like, obviously, you know, something's up. So he, like, runs out, and he drives to, like, his old friend's house.
Yeah.
I want to say the guy's name is, like, Ray. And he's, like, in a bathrobe.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know what you did. And he thinks he did, like, a robbery. He doesn't even know about the murders. So he's like, and he has a gun pointed at him, so he can't really do anything. So he's like, I'm glad it was you. And they're, like, talking, and he's trying to be buddy-buddy with the dude. And the dude tries to hand him a drink, and Matt Dillon has a knife on him, and he stabs it into his chin, like, into his head from down below his chin.
Yep. And then he takes a singular Full Metal Jacket bullet.
Yeah, and he loads it up, but then he wants to get more room, so he finally, like, unlocks the door that's been behind him. Like, the entire time that's been, like, stuck. He, like, finally just is like, well, I really need this door open now. And the police are right behind him. They're, like, outside. But he's like, I gotta do this right. So he, like, opens it with, like, a pipe. He's able to finally, like, pry it open.
and it's like dark, and he starts putting it in. As he's aiming to like get it in focus, he hears a guy behind him.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck? And he turns it on, and there's Virgil just sitting there, being like, hey, how's it going? And, oh yeah, so like a giant important aspect of the movie. Throughout this entire thing, he's been talking to Virgil about how he's trying to build a house. He bought like this foundation, he had bought this land, and he was trying to build this, but it just never worked out for him. It just was always the material was always bad. And Virgil's like, well, you have the material here. So then instead of killing these guys, he's like, you're right. So, and as police are trying to get through the door, he's like, he builds a little house out of all the frozen dead bodies he has.
Yep.
And it looks great.
Yeah, it did look pretty good. I mean, it looked stupid and corny, but I mean, the bodies looked fine.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I like the movie, because it has such weird tonal shifts. And personally, I thought they worked, because I'm just like, this is so bizarre. But I like bizarre things. So I'm like, aha, this must be why everybody likes JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because it's bizarre.
Pretty much.
I haven't seen JoJo's yet. Well, no, I've seen the first 4 episodes, I think.
Ah.
I thought they were pretty middling, so I haven't watched anymore. I will eventually. Maybe after Lars von Trier does like a live action adaptation.
The first part's pretty rough.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But I don't like skipping things either, so.
Good call.
Yeah, so then he's like, well, time to go. And Virgil jumps into a hole in the back of the little house he made.
Yep.
And Matt Dillon follows him. The guys are still alive. He didn't end up killing them, so they're good.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much it. He goes into the afterlife. They're walking, and this whole time they've been talking about philosophy and like what it means to make art and stuff like that. And there's some pretty good conversations here and there. Like, it was some decent stuff. I like Virgil a lot, like the actor that played him. I thought it was pretty good. And they're walking, and they go to the very bottom of hell, like the last pit. And he's like, well, you wanted to see everything, so I brought you down here. But don't worry, you actually, believe it or not, don't belong down here. Even though you killed, like, probably by that time, like 100 people. But they're on a broken bridge.
Yep.
And Matt Dillon sees on the other end of the bridge a staircase going up. He's like, where does that go? He's like, oh, that goes up to heaven. He's like, well, could I just climb around? Like, there's a big, like, sheer, like, mountain face that goes around. And Virgil's like, you can try, but no one succeeded, but it's your call. And Matt Dillon's like, I'll take my chances. Because I guess he would rather go to the worst hell than, like, a really bad hell and try to get to heaven. So the movie ends with him, like, trying to crawl across, and then right as he hits the middle, he starts to, like, slip, and he can't find a new foothold, and he, like, starts to fall into this, like, endless abyss of, like, waterfalls of lava. And and then just suddenly, as he disappears from the screen, hard cut to credits, and Hit the Road Jack starts, like, blaring.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, but I also laughed at that. I thought it was a pretty good cut.
It was a pretty big cut. I don't think I laughed.
I enjoyed it. I was like, that's really, I thought it was like, with the ending they were going for, I thought that was the perfect way to, like, cut it. I'm like, genius. But yeah, I talked about the movie. I said the plot. What were your problems with it besides that first scene?
Yeah, I'm
guessing you don't like the tonal inconsistencies?
I didn't like the tonal inconsistencies. Okay. I didn't like any of the character logic.
Serial killers never make sense to me, but I get what you're saying.
Well,
or do you mean just the stupid people? Or
a little bit of both.
Okay.
Because I've been, like, reading, obviously, like, the Mindhunter book and Johnny Douglas's stuff. So I've been, like, reading a lot about, like, serial killer psychology recently.
Yeah.
And so it's a little odd. It's a little off from what I've read about.
Well, yeah, because he was sophisticated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I think he was supposed to be unlike other serial killers, too, because he's like, yeah, I know I'm a fucking psychopath. And a lot of people don't, I guess.
That was a line that I kind of like questioned.
I mean,
a lot of psycho, not all of them, but a lot of psychopaths realize they're psychopaths. I mean, look at Ed Kemper, for example. He knows what's up.
Yeah. He reminds me of you.
Oh, wow.
I'm just kidding.
There's a guy I went to high school with who doesn't remind me of the real Ed Kemper, but he reminds me of the actor who plays Ed Kemper in Mindhunter. I won't say his name on here, though, because I don't want to, like, name drop him.
Pierre. No.
Yeah, the tonal inconsistencies, the character logic from both ends, whether it was the victim or the serial killer.
Yeah, like, it was understandable. I mean, it's, like, I don't necessarily, like, fault, like, the third woman, like, the one that goes on the date. Like, if they've been dating and she trusts him, like, I don't think there was anything wrong with that.
I thought the further the movie went on, the better it got. Like, most of the rough sailing was in the beginning, but once, like, the film kind of, like, started, like, revealing its true colors, it was like, okay, I see what it's going for, at least.
Well, and then there's some, like, and then later he just starts, like, yeah, no, I agree, but I think that later it does get better. Like, the woman he just runs over, like, she didn't do it. She had her light on, she was doing everything right, like, for walking at night, and he's just like, woo-hoo-hoo, time to kill.
Yeah, exactly. And, I thought this movie was way too fucking long for what it was.
Maybe it's just because, like, when movies are cut up into sections, I just can, like, digest it a lot easier. Even if I watch it in one sitting, if, like, I see, like, it's 5 parts and it says chapter 1 or whatever, first incident, it's just, like, it flows better for me. Like, so I was fine with the length. Like, but because whenever something like that happens, my mind just kind of, even if I'm watching it in one sitting, it just kind of resets. So each incident was just like a little mini movie for me, and I'm like, oh, time for the next one.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't know for sure this happened in the movie, but going into it, I saw the house of corpses coming. I was like, he's going to build a house out of dead people. So why wouldn't they? That's what the title insinuates.
The house that Jack built.
When halfway through the movie, he hasn't built a single fucking house, and it's like, well, he's got a lot of dead people.
I was hoping they would do that or just not build a house at all and be like, Lars von Trier is a liar.
Yeah. The house he built was his house of...
lies.
Yes.
His house of deception.
His horrible deception that he's not very good at in the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, what did you give the film?
I will give this film a 4.
Wow. I'm going to give this film an 8. I don't know what it was. I was just like, I just had a lot of fun the whole time. Like,
I think a big part of why I dislike it so much is because I watched Antichrist before it, and then I watched this,
me too.
And I was like...
But I had seen Antichrist before, so I wasn't, like, necessarily comparing them, but... Yeah, they're very, very different movies.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, but our average is still 6, so you should go watch it. Okay, so next week is going to be like, I think it'll be coming out like the 30th, like right before Halloween, so.
Let's see.
So this comes out.
No, I think the next one will be coming out like the 27th or 28th. Or
28th.
Yeah.
So just right around Halloween, though.
I was thinking about like the real time that we were shooting. Like, that's not right. I'm like, oh, wait. This comes out like a week after we record it, so I guess by the time the viewers listen to it, it will be next week is the final October episode. You have your classic pick down?
Yes, mine pick is The Church.
Okay.
It's let me tell you a little about it. It's from 1989. It's by this guy named Michel Sauvé. He was like supposedly one of the prodigies of like Dario Argento. Okay. So like Dario Argento wrote the screenplay for this with him. So, and I've heard it's pretty epic. Goblin does the composition for it as well.
Oh, fantastic!
At least there's a bunch of composers for it. Goblin does part of it.
Okay.
So, and I've heard it's pretty funky, fresh, pretty swagalicious. I believe it's on Prime Video. So, yeah, and that's from 1989. It's like an hour and 40 minutes, not too long. And for it's kind of spooky, kind of fun. So yeah.
All right.
What about your pick?
It's a movie from 2002 called Bubba Hotep.
Is that the one with fucking
Bruce Campbell?
Is that a horror movie? I mean, kind of.
Yes.
It's like a horror comedy. Okay.
Yeah, it's a horror comedy.
Okay. So it's about Elvis fighting like zombies or something, or
it's about Bruce.
Is he actually Elvis, or is he an Elvis impersonator?
It's open to interpretation because he is in this retirement home, and he says that he is the real Elvis, but about halfway through his career, he got like really tired of the lifestyle and the level.
So he had somebody else like pretend.
So he hired an Elvis impersonator to take over for him. And now he's at this retirement home because he had like a contract that said he could take back his life at any time, but it burned up in a barbecue. So now he's just old Elvis at a retirement home, and Mummy is going around and sucking the souls out of the residents at night. And so Elvis Presley and a black guy in a wheelchair who thinks he's John F. Kennedy are trying to stop this mummy that is terrorizing the retirement home. I think it's pretty great. I love this movie. It's weird. It's off the wall.
I'm excited.
It's probably my favorite non-Evil Dead Bruce Campbell role. So.
Oh, he did Phantasm, the director.
No, yeah.
Which I've been meaning to watch. He also did the 2012 adaptation of John Dies at the End.
Oh.
Which one of my ex-girlfriends loved, and I watched like 4 times, and I'm like, this was okay.
I think I watched like the first 2 minutes, and I got really off-put by the CGI.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, those are our picks, and we'll see you guys in a week.
Yep.
Yeehaw.
Stay spooky.
Tell your grandma. Bye.
Adios.